Greetings everybody, today we'll talk about dream of every 32-year-old man that has great hair and a little bit fat, and why W140 is one of the greatest cars in automotive history. This car is like Khabib Nurmagomedov in UFC, this car is the Tiger Woods in golf, and Warren Buffett in financial world. Welcome everybody to the Mercedes W140. Back in the 1990s, Rolls-Royce was living in the 70s and selling luxury cars with breakthrough technologies from the 70s. Bentley made faster cars than Rolls-Royce, but they felt like a copy of Rolls-Royce. BMW 7 Series and Audi D1 were popular only if you're behind the wheel, and W140 simply didn't have any worthy competitor that could challenge its perfection. In 90s, W140 was car for the most powerful and richest people in the world. This is Boris Berezovsky, and it is believed that he is responsible for Vladimir Putin's rise to president's seat. And this is his assassination attempt. Hitler planted a bomb under the W140 and Berezovsky survived. This is ex-president of Georgia, and his W140 was violently attacked by RPG, and he also survived. This is the hard proof of W140 superiority at its prime. Every person with power wanted W140, and not only for its safety features but for unique, unforgettable luxury experience. To understand where the magnificence of W140 came from, I will start from very hard and difficult history of creating W140. In 1981, Mercedes started their long and expensive work on W140. The deadline for releasing this precious creature was 1989. And in 1988, everything was ready for a release. But out of nowhere, in 1988, BMW E32 introduced their almighty 5-liter V12. The most powerful Mercedes engine for W140 at that time was 5-liter V8. Mercedes were ready to sell W140 with V8s, but they knew that it did not matter how advanced the W140 was, V12 will be more valued than V8. So Mercedes went back to the drawing board and immediately started working on 6-liter V12. What really shocked Mercedes that BMW had already developed 6.7 liters V16 called Goldfish. They had some cooling problems, but car drove perfectly fine and it made ton of power. And after that, Mercedes also started their journey to V16. But both of them stopped developing V16 after 1990s and were more focused on increasing power of their V12s. In 1990s, Mercedes released some secret drawings of W140 to German magazines. Mercedes tried to give different front to models with V12 engines to make their 600 SEL models look more presentable. And they wanted to put their famous logo not on the hood but installed into the grille. Thank God that they didn't do this, and all Mercedes W140 has the same front. Also, before releasing W140, there were rumors that Mercedes tried to make back windows more round. And I'm also very glad that they didn't do that. 2 years before the release, Mercedes planned to sell W140 with 15-inch wheels, and everything was made for 15-inch wheels. But suddenly Mercedes engineers decided that if W140 had 16-inch wheels. So they changed chassis, brakes, wheel arches so they could fit 16-inch wheels. And the end result was gorgeous. I'm very glad that they didn't put the 15 but 16-inch wheels, because car has the perfect size and it looks just magnificent. The shape of this huge tank was intimidating, luxurious, and had the biggest presence on the road. Size of this giant was more impressive than the size of Warren Buffett's bank vault. Last time Mercedes did something as big as W140, it was named 600 Pullman, that carried execution buttons and nuclear codes in their interior. V12 engine developed more brake horsepower than BMW's V12, but BMW did not care about that. Head of BMW was very happy with good sales of 750 and did not want to start a horsepower war. W140 is famous for its ride quality and how it destroyed road imperfection. All that thanks to the dual wishbone at the front and at the back. Also, it had 2 fat axles that carried this huge car and ironed everything under it. And that was the secret of this unique ride that W140 had. Ride comfort of W140 lives in my head rent-free from the first day I experienced it. Year before releasing W140, Mercedes announced pricing. W140 started from 80,000 Deutschmarks till 200,000 Deutschmarks. At that time, Deutschmark were the same as United States dollars. Mercedes conducted very few interesting research for perfect launch of W140. For example, Mercedes did research whether or not to put V12 signs on the side of W140, and research showed that German customers are prepared to demonstrate their wealth to other people. Also, Mercedes conducted research on the high increase of average German men from 1965 till 1985. They found out that the high increase was by 46 millimeters, and they absolutely needed four-door luxury car that can carry four grown German adults in comfort and luxury without them touching each other. So W140 interior can carry four adults with height of 190 centimeters, or for my American friends 6.2 feet. W140 was famous for its futuristic technology, folding mirrors and alarm system that locks all four doors and closed windows, and also sunroof, or soft closed doors that even after 30 years work like new, were very impressive. The famous back antennas on the trunk were there to help drivers see where the juicy W140's butt was parked. And it helped a lot for people who didn't know how to drive big cars. But this feature was not greeted well at the beginning. In my opinion, reason why customers didn't like it, because antennas were developed in 1986, and in 1986 Japanese sedans already had parking sensors. Nevertheless, W140 shocked everybody with its sound isolation. Dashboard was made in such way to surpass and distribute sound from the interior. Also, when the W140 increased in speed, radio automatically played a little bit louder, so you would not feel the acceleration. 7 speakers with 4 subwoofers that were made by Bose gave W140 one of the best audio systems at that time. Also, at the end of the production, W140 had adaptive cruise control as an option, and it had 2 TVs also as an option, and air compressor for back wheels to level ride when car had heavy passengers. Also, it had 2 phones, you can even have satellite phone if you wanted. It had very good navigation system, and even a VHS player. Also, W140 had 3 separate AC systems to cool down interior as fast as possible. Mercedes used minerals to paint the door pillars, and nobody did that before the W140, and even after, I think. Another strong aspect of W140 was the reliability. W140 was tested on 5 million kilometers on different surfaces and weather conditions. Transmission was so good that Mercedes used it even in W221. It adapted to your driving style and kept track of last 40 shift points all the time. You got sporty shifts when you were driving like a lunatic, and you got smooth, creamy shift when you were driving like fat, lazy rich man. W140 had 5 petrol engines. All 5 petrol engines were reliable if you took proper care of them. Those 5 engines had 24 verifications. Even the smallest 2.8 liter straight 6 gave smooth and effortless acceleration. And of course, lack of power was noticeable, but because of how W140 presented itself, you didn't care that have not so much power as you wanted, because the ride comfort was just amazing. Double glazed windows were tested at 5,000 kilometers altitude, even in tropic jungles, and at snow, rain and fog, to understand will there be any air between the glass or will they become foggy or not. Cars were tested in Canada, American desert and even in Kenya. And of course it was tested on Nürburgring. And after violent Nürburgring test, they changed brakes, tires and adjusted suspension so car would handle a little bit better. In March 1990, reporters got W140 for full test drive. What they didn't appreciate were soft closed doors, trunk handle and the antennas on the trunk. Also, what shocked reporters is that even for paying 200,000 marks for 600 SEL, you were obligated to pay extra for heated seats. But people paid anyway. At 200 kilometers, car felt like 60 kilometers. Also, German reporters said that 600 SEL had huge amount of power, but it was so quiet that they were surprised by the pull and by how it felt. Also, they tested 500 SEL and they were more than satisfied and said that 600 SEL was an overkill. Also, they noticed that 5-liter V8 could destroy BMW's V12. Reporters said that Mercedes V8 and BMW V12 were more competitors to each other than the 600 SEL and 750 IL. And also the price gap between two German V12s was very big. BMW 750 was 138,000 Deutschmarks, and base Mercedes 600 SL was 190,000 Deutschmarks. At the end, German journalists reported that in 1991, no one came even close to W140 in terms of luxury, ride comfort, and overall general feel of the car. Those were German reporters, and they compared W140 only to BMW E32. English reporters gave W140 more competitors. They compared it to Jaguar V12, BMW V12, and new Lexus LS. And the result was the same. English reporters agreed on everything that German reporters said about W140. Basically, W140 just John Wicked all the competitors in every test in every country. Everybody knows that Mercedes spent $1 billion on developing W140, and in 80s and 90s no one did that. After W140, Mercedes spent $2 billion on W211 and another $2 billion on just a facelift of W212, not the whole car, just facelift. So W140 started that crazy spending spree that Mercedes loves so much even today. After the collapse of Soviet Union, poor and broke Russia loved the most expensive Mercedes in the world. Magazine За рулем made articles about W140 and they sold record high copies all over Russia and post-Soviet countries. 2,415,000 copies were sold, and the reason is that За рулем tested the most expensive W140 S600. W140 changed naming for all the ex-Soviet Union citizens. Today everybody in post-Soviet countries call Mercedes S-Class W220, W221, W222, W223 as they are, but W140 even today everybody calls 600. This is the dream that cemented even in the dialogue of in ex-Soviet Union countries. Today W140 is getting popular day by day. W140 in good condition ex-Soviet Union countries can be more expensive than the new W223. For me, W140 is a dream car that I love and I'm saving money to buy it one day. I made 3 reviews on my channel on W140 and I will continue making more because I love driving W140, talking about them, reviewing them. It's just something I enjoy doing endlessly. I was sales manager in the most luxurious car dealership for a few years in Dubai, and after all Bentleys, Rolls-Royces, and Maybachs and other luxury cars, I can proudly say that I never drove anything as smooth, as luxurious as properly restored W140. From first second you open the door of W140, interior smells immediately tells your brain that you're about to sit in $1 billion product. From the first meter, you understand why it was the king of its time. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what do you think about W140. And also I noticed that many of you watch my channel without subscribing, and that's very creepy. So stop being creepy and subscribe. Take care and bye bye.